Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back here joined by Dr. Laura Griffith Garland. Welcome to the show today. And of course, she's in beautiful weather in South Carolina, correct?
Yes, we are. It is gorgeous today. It's supposed to be 77 for a high and we're mostly sunny. So
great.
Yeah, just gorgeous weather.
Well, welcome back to the show today. For those that may not know the name of your company, it's Charleston Reiki and Tarot.
Yes, it is.
Reiki Master. Tell us about yourself.
I am a Reiki Master. I'm also a Shamanic Reiki Master. I also do holistic life coaching and so much more, tarot, and strangely tutoring for math and science. So that's my hangover from my previous life when I used to teach nuclear physics for the Navy. So
wow. You do a little bit of everything and you're here helping us today. Did you pull on the cards or Spirit come to you? What's happening?
I pulled our cards, and our cards today start with growth.
Okay.
So, and that's so appropriate for the season. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, pretty much most of the Northern Hemisphere has made it into spring. I'm not sure whether Alaska has, but for the rest of us, we've made it into spring. So growth is where we're at. And there's a lot of aspects to growth. But today I'd like to look at just a couple of areas. One that came up was the understanding and relating to our loved ones, be they friends, family, our partner, even coworkers can kind of be considered loved ones in a way. Different love, but there you have it. But we have during COVID, I think we've kind of pulled back, and so our interpersonal relations have regressed a little bit.
Very true.
And for us to grow as a people, we need to improve our interpersonal relations. So maybe it's time to think about growing, how to handle working with people, how to maybe reframe some of the relationships that we've had that may have gone sour in the last couple of years, and how we really need to think about that going forward so that we don't sour more relationships. And this is most probably not a mental health issue, but it may be some really tough situations for some people. And thinking about getting a third party perspective on it could be super beneficial to steering you through the reframing process that you have to do to get yourself regrowing with our interpersonal relationships. And this is what a coach does. We help you with things like this. So it's what I do. I do this a lot with people recently. This has actually come up with multiple clients, them realizing that they're not interacting with people the way they want to interact with people. They're not showing up and being the person they want to be. And so they want to grow this. And so we've been working on the reframing, working on how to relate to somebody who isn't necessarily exactly like us. And that's where a lot of this has come from. We've kind of narrowed who we interact with. We only interact with people who are in our little silo of beliefs and opinions, and it's become tough. So I found myself really helping people reframe and open up and grow who they're willing to talk to, who they're willing to interact with, and it's always good for us to get other perspectives. We don't have to agree with those, but just to expand ourselves, that growth, that idea of growth. But this isn't the only aspect of growth. Sometimes we need to work on our intrapersonal relations before we can work on our interpersonal relations. So we may need to work on our self-talk and the stories that we tell. We may have shifted that or narrowed that, or it's become very confining. And so we play these tapes in our head. Oh, well, whoops, that's a little bit generational there.
Tapes, yep. Cassette tapes. We got, yep, because we could have said 8 tracks, but we did, so it's good.
Yep. Maybe for another generation, we play these memes in our head.
That's it. Memes, yes.
Yeah.
Emojis, yes. Okay.
Yes,
memes.
We get them stuck in our
More
head.
like videos, yeah.
Yeah, we get them completely stuck in our head, and we believe that we are these things that we say about ourselves. We believe that there were these stories that we tell about ourselves, and they can be super confining. So a story that I've always told about myself was that I'm an introvert. I mean, serious introvert. And then I had a realization, I'm only introverted when either A, I really don't want to be wherever the heck I am and want to be doing something else, or B, I'm in a scenario with people who are actually not the best match for me. I really, their energy just somehow clashes in some way, and we don't have something that's going to work out really well between us. When I look back at situations over the years, I'm like, wow, no, I'm only introverted when I don't want to be there, or there's something not quite right with what's going on. Otherwise, I can be quite extroverted. So this is a story that I told about myself for years, decades. And that the shift in the story has opened up my perspective and my ability to grow. So shifting the story shifts how I'm willing to interact and show up in the world. I changed the talk in my head, and now I show up in the world differently. And that's just happened over the last actually month that I have really shifted that in my head. Took a long time. So our stories can be super confining, but breaking out of them can be really difficult, because our culture has us often tell stories that are not only confining, but they remove ownership from us about what we've done and how we're behaving and how we're showing up and how we're thinking and how we're feeling and how we're reacting. It's really common for people to feel like they're a victim of circumstance, and it's very acceptable in our culture to say that, to be that, to act like that. But that confines us. It's very restrictive. It's impossible to grow when we are not taking ownership for our feelings and emotions that we're having, for how we're reacting, for how we're behaving, for our habits, for how we're showing up in the world. It's really impossible to grow if that's what we're doing, is we're in this confined thing where the world happens to us and we don't take ownership of what we're doing. And so the cards were trying to get me to point to what is one of the fastest ways to shift out of this patterning that we've gotten into that's really confining. And they came up with gratitude and service today. And I can hear the groans talking about gratitude and service. I can hear them because when the cards came up, I looked at them and I could hear the whine in my own mental voice of like, oh, really? Okay, I have to talk about this today. But then it was like, suck it up, buttercup. This is what needs to be talked about. Some people, someone, maybe it's just me who needs to hear this today. I don't know. So we're going to talk about that. So ownership is where we go to get growth. But how do we get out of this confined, everything's happening to me, and oh my gosh? It is that gratitude, and you may be feeling down or pushed down, and it can be tough to find the gratitude. So a habit of gratitude is one of the things that can really shift your perspective. Just really do that. And sometimes it's really hard to do that, because circumstances may be such, and you have self-talked for so long this pattern, that it may be tough to come up with the gratitude. When I'm feeling something not good, gratitude is one of the fastest ways to get out of that. And one of my first go-tos is my cat. When I can't get to anything else, I go to my cat. He's big and can be annoying, but gosh, when he sits in your lap and purrs and you pet his soft fur, it's, it's a different feeling. And so when I can't get somewhere else, I go to my cat. Other people, you have other pets, your dogs or whatever, and it may be, the feel of stroking their fur. If you have a pet with fur, or, it may be how they greet you at the door, that you can, some of our pets, when you come home, they'll just greet you at the door and they're so happy to see you. And so just being so grateful for that can get you really quickly to move on. Now, some people don't have pets. So, well, here's just one. You woke up, if you're listening, you woke up this morning.
Yep.
Not to be crass, but some people didn't. So you woke up this morning, and maybe that's what you can get to for gratitude, is you woke up this morning. Maybe your day is kind of crappy. We won't say another word, but you woke up this morning. So you start there. How about you had a toothbrush and toothpaste so you could get that fur off your teeth?
Fur, yep.
So grateful for your toothbrush and toothpaste. Kids. Maybe you had your kids, and you saw them.
Yeah.
Today. Maybe it's your partner. You have your partner. What about them? Maybe it's you have transportation that's at least semi-reliable, which could include, your subway or whatever.
Yeah.
The subway is semi-reliable.
Very true. Very true.
So what about that? What about a roof? Food? Maybe you have a TV or streaming. Any of these things. Maybe you have income. Others don't have that. Maybe the things that you have that you think about aren't your ideal. They might not be your ideal. Maybe it's not the best house. Maybe your income isn't fabulous. Maybe your kids have been ticking you off recently.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's why we have growth. Because when we can talk to ourselves and appreciate where we currently are in the divine universe, something almost magical happens. Gratitude is not like any other energy. It's a little bit different. It puts our heart into a very specific frequency that interacts with the quantum universe in a way that other emotions just don't do it. Gratitude pulls better things towards you.
Yeah.
This is, any spiritual teacher anywhere is going to talk about this. The attitude of gratitude pulls better things. So if you can be grateful for even the maybe crappy stuff that's going on right now, but you can be grateful for what you have now, that gratitude is going to pull the better towards you, because it's going to open that frequency. It's opening your heart, opening your mind to possibility, to just that feeling. And it literally pulls better. Whatever better is for you, it grows that in your life. So that's why I want to say, please think about what you are grateful for. If you only thing you can start with is you woke up this morning, that's awesome. But eventually you'll find more and more and more little things. It may be the spring flowers that you see. Just being grateful for that. You saw a pretty spring flower, and maybe it was just in a crack in the pavement, but there it was growing. It may be that you saw just something lovely, a lovely interaction between a couple on a bench. You can be grateful for that there are people out there who can have lovely interactions.
Yeah.
Not everybody's fighting.
Yeah.
So I ask you, just do some gratitude. You can write it down. That's actually truthfully, everybody says that's the best. If you can write it down, the physical writing part engages more parts of your brain, and you write it down. If all you can do is type, well, that's okay. And if all you have at the moment is you can think about it, that's good too. It's a good starting point. But doing it every day really does shift something. I can tell you personally, when I've been going through stressful things, if I think of 3 things to be grateful for at night and write them down, and they may be the same 3 freaking things every single day for like 4 weeks. My cat, my husband, and then, something else. That may be the only 3 things I can come up with. And it may be for weeks, but I write them down, and somehow it relaxes my brain and it's easier to go to sleep. So in a stressful situation, often our brain goes nuts and doesn't relax enough to go to sleep very quickly. But doing that gratitude at night can relax your brain. Oh yeah, it's amazing. And again, you don't have to get complicated with it. You can write the same 3 things for days on end. It's okay. But you may find yourself then adding 2 more or another thing soon. Some people wake up in the morning, and if you've gotten up on the wrong side of the bed and you just feel lousy and you're contemplating having a lousy day, maybe on the way to work, repeat 3 things for gratitude while you're in your transportation, whether you're driving or whether you're riding on something, or if you're doing public transit, whatever. If you're walking, bicycling, whatever, repeat those 3 things to yourself a couple of different times. It's amazing how it will shift your day, which is just awesome, because then you're showing up, to work or to wherever you're going in a much better place. And maybe all you're going is dealing with your kids that day. Maybe that's all you're doing. but you're showing up for your kids in a different way. You're showing up in the world in a different way. And this helps grow everyone. Now, sometimes even getting to that point can be nearly impossible. So this is where service can come in, because it may be really hard to find gratitude for what's going on. And working with a coach can really help you with this. This is something I work with people a lot. So really, working with a coach can help you learn to do this gratitude and find things that to be grateful for. But there is another path if that doesn't work, and service. Going and working at a food pantry or a soup kitchen or a church, temple, mosque service event, Salvation Army event, an at-risk youth program. There's a ton. Every community has things available that you can go and just spend a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing once you're there, what the gratitude for your own life suddenly blooms. And so that may be a way to be able to find the gratitude, is go and do some service. And like I said, the heart will open for that, and it can be just totally amazing. Because that allows us to grow, and that's what we all want, right? We want to thrive, not just survive.
Yeah, I like that.
We want to be our best selves, doing things that make us feel fantastic, whether we're working or playing.
Mm-hmm.
So by growing ourselves, if you're in a job situation that you hate, by growing yourself, you can open to the possibility and draw to you to a better job situation. If your interpersonal relationships in your family are not doing great, by opening yourself to the gratitude, you can draw a better interaction.
Yep.
You can own your reactions to what's going on so that you feel better no matter what's going on. And this is what we want for everyone. Is to seriously be able to, as we come out of being COVID confined, into our new normal, for whatever this is, be able to really thrive instead of just surviving. We have, a lot of us just been surviving for the last 2 years. It's been 2 full years. Let's shift this. I really want people to feel a lot better, and be happy. The more happy people we have, the better everything is. And I'm going to ask you a question out there. Are you hitting at least an 8 on a scale of 1 to 10 in all areas of your life? And I say 8 because things go up and down a little bit, and so
nothing's perfect. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. We'll go with an 8 because there's always growth.
Mm-hmm.
We'll leave it at an 8. So if you're not hitting at least an 8, I'm going to ask, what are you going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do about it? And one of the definitions of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and expecting a different result.
Yep.
That's one definition. So if what you've been doing hasn't gotten you to that 8 yet, and it doesn't seem to be moving the needle at all, why don't you try something different?
Yeah.
Try something different. If you can manage something different on yourself, or maybe with a group of friends, awesome. If you're not sure that you can try something different and stick with it by yourself, I'm going to suggest a coach, because this isn't like a mental health problem. You don't need to go see a counselor about this stuff. You just need someone to help you see where you got blocks, see where your self-talk is not where it needs to be, see where your stories are confining you, help you find that attitude of gratitude so that we can grow. As this spring goes into summer, we can all grow and thrive instead of survive. And that was what I would like for all of us.
Beautifully said.
And
As
I
always.
thank you.
Thank you. Namaste. How can we reach out to you? Would you mind sharing your forms of contact?
Sure. You can call 843-259-8349 or direct email drlaura.coach. So that's drlaura.coach@gmail.com.
Perfect. And also on social media, can we find you?
I do have a Facebook page. I don't do a lot with it.
I can see that. Yes, you do. Good. Who has
It is
time?
out there.
Who has time? The website's the best form. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And
Yeah.
say hello to your cat and to your husband. Now, is your husband okay with the cat being the one that you go to? I was going to ask that before, but you were on a serious mode. So got it. Okay, good. I have a cat too.
No,
Very special.
I love my husband too. But it's just, the cat is, it's that soft fur that you can pet. My husband's a little furry, but not quite so soft.
Fur is the topic of the day. We talked about fur, brushing your teeth. Wow, we got fur 3 different ways. All right.
Yeah.
And we're going on a rant. Again, Charleston Reiki and Tarot, Dr. Laura Griffith Garland, thank you for joining us today. Looking forward to next week as well.
Yes.
Stay tuned, everyone. More of the show is on the way.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.